What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Hammer Drops. I am your host, Laoch. Today, we are going to talk about the Tucker Carlson firing and Dan Bongino and Fox parting ways as well. We're going to touch on that. And what's next for Fox? Can Fox recover from this? How many people do we think are going to stop watching Fox now? I'm going to get into a whole bunch of different things and scenarios all on today's episode. So sit tight and enjoy. So if you've been hiding underneath a rock at all this week, the last few days, then you haven't heard that Tucker Carlson, one of the premier flagship anchors for Fox News, has been fired by the Murdoch family. If you don't know who the Murdoch family is, they are the owners of Fox. And the reason why Tucker Carlson was fired from Fox is due to the January 6th tapes. Apparently, the Murdoch family couldn't hold back the wokeness and the left any longer and had to crumble to them. So that's why they got rid of Tucker Carlson. But if you do any kind of Google searches or anything else or listen to any mainstream media, they're going to try and tell you a whole bunch of lies about the man in hopes to decredit him, which isn't going to work. Dan Bongino is another amazing anchor that was on Fox and contributor that brought to light many, many different things as well. Maybe not quite as much as Tucker Carlson did, but up there. Both conservative anchors, both now gone from Fox. Makes you kind of wonder. Remember back 2020 when Fox News was the one that announced that Biden had won? Pretty much set in motion with everything that happened that day. And ever since, Fox, in my opinion, has been trying to make up for it. Now, making up for it is completely gone by getting rid of two of their key people that worked for them, that actually were not afraid to bring news to people or be silenced by anybody. From the left, from the right, it didn't matter. If it was news, it got brought to us by these two people. And now in hopes, the left was hoping to silence them or deplatform them. And that's not going to work like that. All it's going to do is make more and more Americans wake up to the censorship that the left is trying to impose on Americans. If you speak out against anybody in the left, you will be silenced. And that is exactly what they were hoping to the message that they were hoping to send by doing what they did. In my opinion, it's not. It's going to help more Americans wake up and more Americans look elsewhere for news. Come to people like myself, who we don't have nothing to gain. The only thing we have to gain is to get information out to you, our viewers. And for you, our viewers, to know the truth. The stuff that the left and some on the right don't want you to know about. That's all that did. I bet you Fox is really feeling it now with what they've lost since announcing. Within not even a full day of Fox being announced that they fired Tucker Carlson, how much money they lost. Now, I'm going to show you something here. I'm going to switch over to another thing. This right here, folks, is exactly okay, sorry about that. This right here is exactly the kind of money that Tucker Carlson, with his firing, how much money they have lost. According to CBS, $800 million in market value after Tucker Carlson was fired. You go down, ABC Go, that's the same one. So Fortune, $690 million after Tucker departure. Bloomberg, they're saying the same, pretty much the same thing. I mean, all of this money, this value in Fox that they've lost. On top of that, they lost their court case against the Dominion machines for another $787 million, or billion. No, million. Sorry about that. $787 million lost in that case. Tucker Carlson is officially the $1 billion man. And Fox News, you deserve it for everything that you've done. You've essentially shown that if you are a conservative reporter or somebody that wants to bring news to the people, that you are no longer welcome with Fox. Now you have your guys like Jesse Walters and Sean Hannity and all them still with Fox, but are these anchors going to be able to bring in the viewership that Tucker Carlson did in a 1 hour slot? In a 1 hour slot, folks, Tucker Carlson would crush CNN for a full day, would crush MSNBC for a full day. And yet Murdoch was pressured so much to fire Tucker over the January 6th videos because the left didn't want you to see what was actually happening, that it was a complete setup. These protesters were led in. These protesters were on a guided tour of the Capitol. But yet they want you to believe that it was all because of Donald Trump. Because they fear Donald Trump so much. They even said that Tucker Carlson hated Donald Trump. And as you can see in this picture right here, Tucker Carlson and Donald Trump in the same picture. That doesn't look like two people that hate each other, does it? But the left wants you to believe that. But on the same day, CNN parts way with Don Lemon. There's no uproar there, is there? The left is silent when it comes to him because they don't. He didn't pose a threat to them like Tucker Carlson did. Then when Tucker Carlson gets let go, you have people like AOC who, she's all happy that he got deplatformed. AOC, let's explain one thing to you real quick about this. You did not deplatform Tucker Carlson. You did not silence Tucker Carlson. If anything, Tucker Carlson is going to make a whole lot more money now than he did with Fox. And he's got millions of viewers that are going to follow him. And rightfully so. Because Tucker Carlson isn't afraid to speak the truth. No matter if it's Biden, no matter if it's Trump, no matter if it's DeSantis. If somebody did something messed up or wrong, Tucker Carlson will call him out on it. Same with Dan Bongino. And Dan Bongino is going to continue doing his thing too. You didn't silence anybody. All you did was take more people away from mainstream media and watching the circus that it is. That's all you did. And what's funny, one thing I want to say here real quick, and then we'll get back to this Tucker Carlson thing, is the Democrats have said that with Joe Biden running for re-election, that there will be no debates with Joe Biden. All other Democrats will love it and keep their mouths shut and smile. Because Joe Biden is not going to debate anybody that's running against him on the Democrat side. Isn't that against our democracy? And then shortly after, President Trump said the same thing. And all the left were in an uproar about it, complaining that it was against democracy. It's kind of weird, huh? It's okay for Joe Biden and the Democrats to say this all they want, but as soon as a conservative or somebody like Donald Trump says the same thing, oh, it's against democracy. We can't have that. It's against our Constitution. And yet, here we are. Right, Joe? What's good for you is not good for everybody else. You're allowed to do whatever you want, right? Yeah, well, that I hope is coming very close to an end. So, I have a video. The video that, if you haven't had an opportunity to see the video that Tucker Carlson released last night about, what he had to say after his release from Fox, don't worry. I have it here for you today. And I'm going to play it right now. It's about 2 minutes. If you're watching this on Rumble, YouTube, or wherever, great. If you're listening to a podcast, you're going to hear the sound. So here you guys go.
Good evening, it's Tucker Carlson. One of the first things you realize when you step outside the noise for a few days is how many genuinely nice people there are in this country. Kind and decent people, people who really care about what's true, and a bunch of hilarious people also, a lot of those. It's got to be the majority of the population, even now. So that's heartening. The other thing you notice when you take a little time off is how unbelievably stupid most of the debates you see on television are. They're completely irrelevant. They mean nothing. In 5 years, we won't even remember that we had them. Trust me, as someone who's participated. And yet at the same time, and this is the amazing thing, the undeniably big topics, the ones that will define our future, get virtually no discussion at all. War, civil liberties, emerging science, demographic change, corporate power, natural resources. When was the last time you heard a legitimate debate about any of those issues? It's been a long time. Debates like that are not permitted in American media. Both political parties and their donors have reached consensus on what benefits them, and they actively collude to shut down any conversation about it. Suddenly, the United States looks very much like a one-party state. That's a depressing realization, but it's not permanent. Our current orthodoxies won't last. They're brain dead. Nobody actually believes them. Hardly anyone's life is improved by them. This moment is too inherently ridiculous to continue, and so it won't. The people in charge know this. That's why they're hysterical and aggressive. They're afraid. They've given up persuasion. They're resorting to force. But it won't work. When honest people say what's true, calmly and without embarrassment, they become powerful. At the same time, the liars who've been trying to silence them shrink, and they become weaker. That's the iron law of the universe. True things prevail. Where can you still find Americans saying true things? There aren't many places left, but there are some, and that's enough. As long as you can hear the words, there is hope. See you soon.
And that right there, folks, whether you like Tucker Carlson or not, those were very powerful words. What he said right there was very powerful. And he's right 100%. People will stop looking towards mainstream media for any of their news and start going to independent people like myself, now Dan Bongino, Tucker Carlson, so on and so forth, to get their news. And they should. Because, you know what? We're not going to sugarcoat it for you. We're going to tell you exactly what you need to hear and how you need to hear it. And that's just the way it is. We're not going to lie to you. There's so much in this world that is going on that your mainstream media, like ABC, CBS, all of them, they're not going to tell you. And how can you trust a station like MSNBC when it's run and owned by Bill Gates himself? MS stands for Microsoft, if you didn't know that. And the whole reason why somebody like Bill Gates is actually owns a news station is to spread his own propaganda around. And that's what's going to happen moving forward. Propaganda is going to run wild. And what I mean by that is, let me show you, just by doing a simple Google search after Tucker Carlson left, let me show you what the news outlets are starting to say about him. Now, if you look here, here's USA Today. Tucker Carlson breaks silence after Fox. Okay. Releases video. So, Tucker Carlson's vulgar, offensive messages about colleagues helped seal his fate at Fox News. That's from the Wall Street Journal. New York Times, on eve of trial, discovery of Carlson's text sets off crisis atop Fox. There was even somebody in there saying that an old producer of Fox, which is, let me see here, Abby Grossberg, who claimed she faced sexism and hostile work environments at Fox. See, this is the stuff that the left and the woke agenda is going to try and do to discredit Tucker Carlson. And they're all lies. All of them are lies. If that was you and you were Tucker Carlson, they would say the same thing about you. Don Lemon, they're not going to say anything about him because he falls into the narrative and the whole plan that they have. I mean, who's to say? I mean, what he said about women. I mean, come on, Don Lemon. What he said about women, him being pantsless during a broadcast or a Zoom call or something with other colleagues. I mean, this guy is completely sick in the head. And yet the left won't say anything about it, even though we all already know it. Instead, let's attack a conservative because he's a conservative, because he spoke the truth. That's one thing they don't want. So if we take anything from this, we know that censorship is alive and well on both sides of the aisle. And that's exactly what happened with both Tucker Carlson and Dan Bongino when it comes to Fox. So what's next for Fox? Is there any one other anchors that are going to be able to take that torch like Tucker Carlson and Dan Bongino had? No. And I can almost guarantee a lot of people, sponsors, will start leaving Fox News and going elsewhere. In my opinion, though, Fox News did to themselves. They sealed their own fate. I, for one, won't be watching or listening to anything from Fox News ever again because they showed their true colors this week. On that note, folks, I think we cover this as much as we can at this time. If there's anything else that comes out of it, I'll be sure to do another episode about it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you have, definitely do me a favor. Wherever you're listening to this, if you're listening on podcast, or if you're watching this on Rumble, YouTube, or whatever, make sure you subscribe to wherever you're watching or listening to it. Leave me a review. Let me know how you like the show. And definitely go and check out the new Facebook group that I created today. And go join that group because that group is for everybody. If you have something that you want to post on there that's relative, by all means, I want your voice to be heard. There's going to be polls. We're going to go live on that group and the whole 9 yards because with the group, I get a little bit more leeway when it comes to a private group. So definitely go check that out. I'll provide all the links below in the description. And until the next time, you guys be good to one another. We'll see you guys on Monday.